Tonight's guest
Riffraff
is an absolute giant of the game, MVP, AFLPA MVP on his way through, superstar at both Fitzroy and Sydney, seven-time All-Australian, captain, Hall of Fame member. The CV goes on and on and on, most notably as a premiership coach. He's one of the greats of the game. Please make him welcome Paul Roos, everybody. It's nice to have you in Australia. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to coming on for a while. We've sort of been trying to tee this up for about 18 months. So
You're hard to get.
I am hard to get. I love the show, and it's a pleasure to be on.
Well, it started back in 1982 for you. We love just rolling the collection of highlights. And it started back in 82 when Fitzroy was still a precocious team full of real talent. And that's your first goal, Roosie. Can you remember it?
Well, I remember getting dropped. I kicked 2 in the first game and I got dropped the next week. So I played on Rod Carter that game. And some of the fullbacks in that era were just
they were good.
Gary Malarkey, Kelvin Moore. That was my initiation, was about 4 or 5 of the best fullbacks. David Dench of all time.
Of course.
But it was, it was a great era.
So you kicked nearly 300 goals, but probably people remember you mostly for doing your best work across half-back and just dominating opposition teams when they try and go forward. Who switched you back? Was there someone who made that call?
Yeah, so what happened was I got taken off the ground, I think it was against South Melbourne, ironically, at the junction. I got put back on the wing in the last quarter, and I had about 9 possessions on the wing. So then I played wing for about, 20 games, and then Ross Glendenning was toweling us up at Junction Oval, and I think Wolsey had run out of options and said, can you go back and play on Glendenning? And I did reasonably well. Yeah. So that's how I sort of evolved as a centre back.
And did you always have this capacity? As a kid, were you a jumper? Like, there's so many great marks you took in that package. Is that something you obviously
That's
always
a laboratory-built key position player.
No, it really is.
Forward or back, all the skills, big grabs.
I played a lot of basketball as a kid, and I think that really helped. Basketball was quite a dynamic sport, more speed rather than endurance, up and down the court, rebounding. And I think that really helped, particularly the awareness, the spatial awareness. Like Scotty Pendlebury was a great basketball player. So I think that helped the rebounding. And I guess I think I high jumped about 188 in high school. Went to the All High Championship as a high jumper sort of thing. So
you had it.
Reasonable talent without being exceptional.
Yep.
You burst onto the scene on the field, also in the media. You got off to a flyer at an early start on a little show called The Squadron.
Very honoured and privileged to have here as our special guest this morning, Fitzroy captain Paul Roos. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, Gary. Yourself?
What about away from footy, mate? You got the baby now. What else fills in your time?
I actually work full-time for a company selling faxes and photocopiers, and that's a good job.
You backed a winner there, didn't you, Rosie? The old fax machine.
We had one of the funniest nights that we ever had was a group of Fitzroy players. There was Alistair Lynch, Johnny Blakey, Dwayne Rowe, I think Paul Broderick, and I don't know how we got onto it, but we spoke about our jobs. Because everyone had a job back then. When you started, you all had a job. Johnny Blakey had a job putting metal handles on plastic buckets. That was his job, and his dream was to become the foreman of the company because he started getting blisters on his thumbs. It was one of the funniest nights I've ever had in my life.
So you were into fax machines. What did you get into after that? Beta, laser discs. What else? So you know you were in a fax machine. How would you sell me this one? Here? Look at this. What's unique about this particular model?
Oh, it's a sharp. It's funny you should say that because you'd get a list of the prices of the photocopies and the fax machines, and there was whatever gap you got a percentage of the gap you sell it for. I had no idea what I was selling. Zero, none. And I just go around to some friends and they'd say, we're just looking at a new fax machine or a photocopy. I said, well, what quotes have you got? And they'd literally give me the quotes of the other companies, and I just matched the quotes. That's basically all I did.
This particular model, would you look for a phone?
I wouldn't recommend
we're receiving a fax.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
It's a match report from when Essendon last won a game. Jeez. The fish did really well that day. That's very good.
All right, so that was one of your earlier jobs.
So you mentioned you play as that was still the day before your players become professional and you had jobs. And your first week before you played your first game you're working, we've actually got a picture of you hard at it in the week before you made your debut.
Were you fudging the books? What were you doing there?
Obviously, everyone else working from home. What's going on?
I was working at the AMP.
AMP.
This is a true story. So I worked there for about 3 or 4 years, and when I got my sort of assessment or whatever, my boss said to me when I was about 19 or something like this, you've got to make a decision between insurance and playing football.
Right.
That's what he said to me. So I think I made the right decision at that particular time.
Oh, hang on, we're getting another fax. What is this? I can't...
Oh, it's coming. I can hear
You
it.
preempted it coming through.
What is it? Just do that,
He just knew it was coming through. Yeah.
Oh, it's the jokes for tonight's multi.
I love coming in.
It's been late 87.
Hey, Sando, he was a wonderful player, this bloke.
I'm
Let's get
a
back in
colleague
it.
of man. We used to go to Vic Park and watch you play in Princess Park, all those great games, you and Purdy down the back. And in '86, you came very close to winning a Brownlow. In fact, you were one of the fancied.
Oh, yes.
And during the news in 1986, they actually went out on the streets to get people's opinions on who should win.
If you listen to the real footy expert, the person in the street, Paul Roos is home and hosed.
Paul Roos, by a mile.
Paul Roos, hopefully.
Roos.
Oh, definitely Paul Roos. Paul Roos.
Paul Roos? Paul?
I think that was the umpire that voted on the last one.
That's right.
That's why I missed out.
I wonder what it's like to be the favourite going into the Brownlow, because in 1992 again, we'll get you to tell us about both in a moment. 92, you were one of the favourites for the Brownlow again, but you were going to be absent. You were going to be missing the night, and this is how Bruce covered that moment.
Not all the favourites are here tonight. There's a lone lion who's over in Los Angeles. Paul Roos. Paul, you've had a magnificent season.
M. Dundas.
So I wonder what this is like, Roosie. You're over in LA. You've been asked to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to sit there on your own and watch yourself lose another Brownlow medal. What? Can you remember this experience?
It was... Actually, Gary Pert and his wife, they were on their honeymoon, so they came down with it. I stayed at the worst hotel across the road. I had to get up at 3 a.m. to walk across the road. There was literally no one in the studio. I think they gave me a set of keys. I had to put the batteries in the camera and turn the camera on. And I sat there for 3 hours, had no idea, absolutely no idea when I was on the camera or not.
You didn't have a feed or anything?
Nothing. There was no TV monitor in front of me.
Terrible.
Surely, though, because they asked you, you must have thought, I'm a chance here. Or they wouldn't go to that much trouble.
Well, you sort of don't know. I mean, there's sort of a theory that someone knows who wins it, isn't there? Like, there's always that.
Yeah.
Does anyone really know? And then you sort of thought, you sort of think, I must be a chance. If they're going to pay for me to go to LA I was in San Francisco, I wasn't far. And they're going to get me to go, I must be a chance. But I knew, I think I got 10 votes.
10 votes,
like
yeah.
But Paul,
I was bored out of my brain about halfway through.
But at the end, did someone tell you that they'd finished? Or so you basically had to walk away from that?
It was really weird.
Yeah.
It was like...
What is... And now?
I guess I better leave, and you take your thing off and just wander out.
Was 86 disappointing, or it's just there's more important things to get disappointed about?
It's a weird feeling because, everyone... everyone knows that I was favourite and you go in, and then the way they did it back then is... they left the Fitzroy Sydney game to the last game, and I think I was best on ground in the papers and all that, and I was 1 vote behind.
Oh, no.
So with 1 game to go, it's Fitzroy, blah, 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 blah. I just remember the cameras are all around me, and I think Smirky Dwyer got the 3 votes and the cameras had just disappeared within 0.01 of a second. And I'm just sitting there like a spare cake at a wedding going, well...
What do I do now?
I guess, what do I do? But I do remember, the Carlton blokes were fantastic. Like, Craig Bradley walked over, Kerners walked over and shook my hand, said, mate, well done, So you remember things like that.
That's great.
And you're also disappointed because there was a Fitzroy function on that night, and you go back and you sort of feel bad for the fans that you don't win. So it's more Probably more other people rather than yourself, to be honest.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. You were a good-looking rooster. You had a wonderful hairstyle. We'll get onto that. One of the great mullets of all time.
Yes.
But you're so good-looking that you also featured in the Men for All Seasons calendars. Which, hello, girls, dinner's on.
I can't tell. That's an interesting look. It's either my grandmother in the village or someone from the Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Punching Bag. It's such a
Why'd they cover up the mullet?
Well,
Why'd they rein in the mullet?
I reckon it was the pirate sort of type look.
So it was a pirate, was it?
But my son's done a bit of modelling and acting, so I roll that out a fair bit. So that's not a surprise to me, because I pull that out.
Yeah, no,
Tammy's got a copy of that.
Let's have a look at the final... how it came out. That is very touching.
Very fetching.
Bit of blue steel there, isn't it?
It is indeed. And if we widen out, we can see that you're also... Wow. You do that is faxy sexy.
You got real fax appeal
very
there.
good.
Fax appeal.
Is that AI, that stuff?
No. Let's get on to
mentioned the hair.
Let's get on to the mullet. You have one of the greats. Your All-Australian mullet for me. Your Hall of Fame mullet.
That beautiful.
That is typical.
That's hard to carry out because that's got the part and the mullet. That's a high degree.
Well, I've got the cowlick with the mullet.
Yeah, that's a good look.
And you stayed with it for your entire season.
Because the thing is, that's pre-ironic mullet. That's sincere mullet. Sincere mullet.
The good old days, I
call it. People of my era. I was talking to someone about this today because I knew I was coming on the show and they knew the mullet. It never used to be called a mullet.
What was it?
No.
A haircut.
Yes.
Just give me a haircut. It wasn't called a mullet. I would like...
You see
if
that?
there's a historian, a hairdressing historian, when did it get called a mullet?
That is a good mullet, but it's not the goat.
Yeah.
The goat, ladies and gentlemen, hands down.
Oh, wow. That's a mullet.
But I think...
He's disputing it. He's disputing it.
Brereton, Kernahan, you go through every... Ando, Greg Anderson...
I get it. But
it was a haircut.
Are you saying that's not the best of all time?
That's the best.
Oh, he doesn't.
Gary Ayres.
You don't rate it?
Ayres is close.
Well, who had the best one? If it wasn't you or Ayres, was there one that you really rated?
I love Kerners, because Kerners was a great player. Ayres was a great player, but Kerners was probably a bit more like myself in terms of mullet. Ayres was a bit more bushier type.
I reckon Vinny Catoggio, had he shaved, he could have gone...
That's not a mullet.
No, you can go with an afro mullet in the back.
An afro mullet.
That's a high degree of difficulty. The frollet.
That'll get you on the podium. At what age did you look yourself in the mirror and said the mullet has to go? Was there a point at which you went, I'm done?
I reckon when I got to Sydney, but it was sort of that trend. Like every kid at school had a mullet.
That's going to be true.
We're going to get a break.
It's Andy's very first dick pic.
Look at that. It's his first dick pic.
And guess what? And guess what? He's got a mullet.
On that note, there's going to be more Paul Roos after the break. Robert Walls off to the right there with this really talented Fitzroy group. Paul Roos, our special guest. Wallsy was your first coach for 4 years, Roosy, and I imagine they become really profound relationships. We know Rob passed away last year, and I know you came back. You made a real point to get back and spend some time with Wallsy before he left this mortal coil. How important to you and for you was that?
Look, I don't think you realise at the time when you go to a footy club, because you probably don't think you're going to be there that long, but when you look back on it, those formative years, I'm 16 going to Fitzroy, and I had a great upbringing, but then you get introduced to Robert Walls and Bernie Quinlan and Gary Wilson and all those guys, and they just shape your life, really. So when I heard Wallsy, we knew he was sick, and then Scotty Clayton rang me and said he's going to do the assisted dying, and I didn't know really much about that. But I said, I've got to come back and, I've got to see Wallsy before, he chooses to pass away sort of thing. So I came back and spent a couple of hours with him in East Melbourne, which was just was the most incredible 2 hours. It was amazing because we had similar played, coached, all those sorts of things. Yeah, it was just amazing.
And 23 years later, you go on this incredible football journey, and 23 years later, you do what Wolsey did. You coach a team to a premiership. Were there hallmarks back to some of those early lessons you learned under Rob that you instituted in your days at Sydney?
100%. When I finished in October 1998 as a player, I sat down at my desk and I wrote the things I liked about my coaches and the things I didn't like. And you take something from all of your coaches, good and bad. I would never have won the flag had I not gone to Fitzroy. I'm convinced of that. Not just Robert, but Laurie Serafini, Mickey Conlon, Bernie Quinlan, Gary Wilson, that next group of players, Matty Rendell, Scotty Clayton. There's no way known I'll win the premiership at Sydney had I not gone to that footy club.
Yeah, right.
I think for a lot of people who weren't living through that premiership at the time, it was very significant for the South Melbourne Sydney Football Club. It had been a long time coming, and it really did legitimise this football club on now the national scale. And you were there, and on the dais after the game, you gave one of the speeches, which is well remembered.
To the people who have waited 72 years to see South Melbourne / Sydney Swans win the premiership, here it is!
Oh, that's so
that's
good.
massive,
So good.
Can I just ask, were you in...
That wasn't ticker tape, by the way. That was a fax machine.
That's what was it a shredder? I mean, were you publicising your shredder? That was great action behind you. That was beautiful. That was a great... The fact that you mentioned South Melbourne as well was so special.
Yeah, well, I remember... Because people have asked me this a lot, do you rehearse your speech? You sort of semi-do. You're winning and losing, because there's only two ways you're going to go. You can win or you can lose the grand final. But I think the banner was sort of pretty significant. It was 2 cities, 1 club or something like that as we run out onto the ground. And I knew the angst that had happened for South Melbourne back in 80, 81. And I think, as you said, Mick, it was really quite significant bringing the club really together. And I think that was what I was trying to say, that no longer was there this sort of division. I think that day sort of cemented even the people that didn't want to see, and there was largely most people didn't want to see South Melbourne go to Sydney.
It's really successful. It's the best of the bunch of the migrating teams. It's
and it enshrined so many people at that football club in that period in the history of that club. And you're at the top of that totem pole, obviously. But I wonder if it nearly didn't happen. I mean, you were as assistant coach in 01. Rocket resigns in 2002. Looks like Terry Wallace is going to get the job, and then you take over as interim.
Hasn't he? I think he's got the job.
Yeah, had the contract, and then your people power and the players. And when did you know? When did you get a sense that this was your job through this interim phase?
Yeah, it was a pretty strange time because you're coaching, and then there was a rumour about Terry Wallace getting the job, and our seconds were in the finals as well. But this was Paul Kelly and Andrew Dunkley's last game. So I went down on the ground. We were playing Richmond. I just went down on the ground, like everyone, the players and all the fans, to congratulate Kel and Dunks, 2 icons of the footy club. And then the players just surrounded me and jumped on me and showed the fact that they probably wanted me to coach them. But I'd still had to go through a process and all the media about Terry and all. So it was quite a bizarre time. But, it was great to have the players behind you, certainly.
I don't know how much footy you're watching at the moment, but there's a similar situation taking place at Carlton at the moment with Josh Fraser. Have you got a line of sight on that, or an opinion on how he's tracking and a read on what they might do?
Yeah, look, he's done an amazing job. To be 1-8 and then win 7 games in a row. I guess their challenge is, I don't think he's put his hand up for the job for a start.
No, not officially, no.
They've sort of been down that path a couple of times before. So this is a fascinating watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm an ex-Carlton. The last game I went to, which you could have showed, I went with my mate Creature to the 79 grand final when Harmsy clearly knocked that ball into the...
Of course,
Of course, it was
way out.
So that was my old team. I had Barry Armstrong, number 12. This is a must-watch for footy fans.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to get the Carlton job? Because they've been down the path of Malthouse and Pagan and Antigue and Bolton and Ratton. So it's a fascinating one. He's done an amazing job.
Are you saying you're a Carlton supporter?
I was.
No, but are you now?
No, I'm not a Carlton supporter now, but...
He laughed as he said it.
So you'll be watching tomorrow night. You're here, obviously, for a couple of weeks, and there's a fair game coming up. Your Old Mob up against Fremantle, 1v2 national game, Thursday night, standalone. It's pretty remarkable, is it? Do you look back?
It's a big game.
It is a huge game. I mean, Sydney has maintained its stature, since you handed it over to John. And it's been remarkable to see this club just maintain its standards.
Do you still see your DNA over this current Sydney side? The no dickhead policy, which you famously introduced?
Look, you do, because you know the history of what's gone on. Like, John Longmire was my assistant coach when we started. Went down to Coffs Harbour. We came up with the Bloods culture. We picked our leadership group. Stewie Maxfield became the first captain. We would not have won a premiership without Stewie being the first captain. Unfortunately, he didn't make the grand final because of his knees. Yeah. And then you see the rollout then goes, I can't remember exactly what order it is, but Kirky and Callum Mills now, and in between Jared McVeigh and Kieran Jack and Dane Rampy. And
who are they getting back this week?
Oh, Tom Bapley's back in the side.
Well, there goes the no dickhead policy. He's a dead set dickhead. He is an absolute egghead. It's going to be a cracking game, possibly a grand final preview. What are your thoughts?
I love Freo. I loved them last year, and they probably just... I don't know whether you ever need a loss in a final, but I really like the way they're playing. They've got a really well-balanced team. I think they've got really good defence, midfield's elite, and forwards that can kick goals. Yeah. And I just love the way they're able to transition both offensively and defensively. And the Swans, as you said, have been around the mark for so long, and they've got some great top-end talent. So it's going to be a cracking game.
Sure will.
Well, hopefully they'll get them to the ground safely and in a conventional fashion, as opposed to you... when you took the Swans to Perth and decided... This is the most outrageous decision in the field of transport.
What year was it?
Of
1995 was when he was still playing.
Have a listen.
But it would seem the services of Roos and former Saints forward Tony Lockett have been costly, the tourists choosing public transport instead of a tour coach.
Public transport? You've caught a bus from the airport with the public. What were you thinking?
How did you break the news to Tony Lockett?
Did they blame me and Plugger for that bus?
Because your costs, they couldn't get a charter bus,
It's funny.
What's happened?
It's funny when it came up to... I can't...
That's from Plugger. He said he was sitting up the back smoking.
He wants a refund.
He wants a refund.
I can't remember getting on that public bus. I honestly can't. I couldn't ever remember... Can you ever imagine Plugger getting on a public transport?
No, I can't.
There's no way known Plugger gets... We must have hired the... Plugger must have hired the whole thing for everyone.
Yeah, no, he must have. That was
That's what must have happened.
Okay, so you finish up at Sydney, you take a bit of time off, and then you take the job at Melbourne in the mid-2014, was it? And so tell us about that move. How did you find... I mean, it was a pretty low ebb at the time.
What sort of nick was this listing, Roosie, when you got there?
Yeah, look, Peter Jackson was really honest. Like, it wasn't like they were sugarcoating, how the team was. I met with Peter a number of times, met with the leadership group. They're really honest.
Yeah.
And I only tell this story because Maxie Gawn's told it. It's now public knowledge. I wouldn't normally... First training session, and normally... first to 4 year players turn up, so it's normally pretty thin anyway. Yeah. But we'd had a number of off-season operations, so I remember bring the A team down, Benny Matthews, Frosty, and all the, Georgie Stone, the doyen, and we're getting paid a truckload of money. So we arrived at the Oval there, and we're walking over, and I'm looking, and it's about 12 players training.
What?
I said to Georgie, what do we do? What do we do for training? He goes, mate, we're going to have to start with lane work. And I've gone, lane work? They're paying us a fortune, we're going to roll out lane work. Anyway, that's all we could really do. So this is legitimate, this is true stories. First training drill, I'm standing there just, watching. I think it was Rowan Bale comes out, nice drop punt. Jack Fitzpatrick puts his hands up. But when you're taught as a kid to put your thumbs out like that? Yeah. I think no one taught him that, so it just went straight through his hands. And he had a fair beak, Jack. It whacked him on the beak. I've looked over at George. George looked at me and rolled his eyes. Anyway, Jack's picked up the ball, gone to kick it. It's legitimately hit the outside of his slipper and it's rolled 3 metres sideways. We both looked at each other. Georgie's wandered over and said, Jesus, how bad must the players have been that got the arse?
That's good.
Well, they went on to win a flag,
They did.
and you can lay some claim to that, at least in the foundation stage. So, well done to you.
Your contribution to every club you've been has been profound. We have to let you go. There's a million other stories. What are you doing these days? What are you up to?
Yeah, look, I have a leadership company now, which I really enjoy. I mean, more in the corporate world.
Selling faxes.
Yeah,
I've got a couple in the car, actually.
So what is it, like leading teams or leadership?
Yeah, it's like culture. Yeah, look, if you want to get hold of me, you can. But, yeah, trying to set really clear behaviours like we did basically at Sydney back in 2003. Really, I believe you can systemise culture. We've seen that with Sydney. Geelong have been fantastic. They were the sort of second team to do that. And now every footy club really has a culture that they hold each other accountable to. So that's pretty much what we do at Performance by Design. So, yeah, I enjoy it.
We might get you in here.
Yeah, we can do that. There it is.
It's a loose ship backstage.
Make sure you jot that down if you're in the need for it. And a lot of people also performance.
And there's a fax number you can call.
There's a fax.
There it is. Right.
Oh no, that's all.
Well, that's a lot.
Get on you, Roosie.
That's a lot to jot down. So we'll put it out on our social medias just in case you missed that number. Roosie, you're a star. Thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute. Paul Roos, our very special guest. Don't go anywhere. On the other side of the break, Nick's multi.